All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with Alan. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, thanks. Zach, yourself?
Glad to hear it. I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking, and thanks for taking some time to talk today.
Yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure, to see you guys doing your thing on social media, and I just like to be part of things and reach out and speak to new people.
Perfect. Yeah, so happy to have you on. And, for those of you who might not know Alan, he is a coach, actually, and he teaches professionals to lose weight and keep it off forever. And he does that in simple and um, effective and efficient ways. So, definitely really cool um, to talk about that, because I definitely have the same passion for health and fitness, but definitely a really cool, passionate guy. So, I'm really excited to talk to you today. But, Alan, that's kind of just like the basics about you. Do you mind talking a little bit about your background, who you are, what you're up to these days, all that good stuff?
No, I don't mind at all. Yeah, I can give you that background. So I've had a real I'm 37 years old now, so I've had a background in sport my whole life actually. I used to be passionate about just taking part in sport right through high school from a young age, and I liked helping people at the same time. So I got into coaching from a young age, and then I decided that I wanted to be a high school teacher from a young age. So I decided to go to university. Went to the Edinburgh University, which is in Scotland, and I studied education. So that was in my early 20s, and at that stage I was playing soccer. I was or football, as we call that in Scotland. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, so I played that for a number of years, a good 10, 15 years. I had a good level of fitness at that time, had a passion for fitness. I liked the whole camaraderie of it and being part of a team and all that stuff. But I always found that I was training really hard, and it used to be sometimes, annoy me that other people weren't quite pulling their weight and training and things, and I couldn't get my head around it. Why wouldn't someone just want to give their all in training? So years went by, and I stopped playing football. I actually picked up a few injuries and things. Had been teaching for a number of years in a high school, and I got into going to the gym, like many people, probably just through insecurities to begin with. Maybe lacking a bit of confidence in that thing, wanted to look good on the beach, and probably for girls as well, to
Mm.
be honest. And then that led me to snowballing. I'm always one for setting goals. So, at that time, social media was kind of just kicking off. So I wanted to started seeing images of these guys on the front cover of magazines and things, and I wanted to be that. So I had been going to the gym for a number of years by this stage, and I thought, I'm gonna set myself a goal to try and achieve that. And one thing led to another. And I ended up actually competing in drug-free bodybuilding, trained for about 10 years before I decided I wanted to do that. Got myself a coach. He accelerated my results. I had my coach for about 5 years. During that time, I competed in men's physique at the time. Didn't realize that was an untested show in my naivety. And then I think I placed about seventh out of 14 in that. And then that gave me the drive to find more kind of drug free shows. So I found a federation, two federations actually in Britain that do that, gives it more of a kind of level playing field. So
Hmm.
I decided to give that a shot the following year, went entered the Scottish Championships, and I won a title there. So that led me to the British Championships, learned that. So at all this time, I was learning all about nutrition, training, mindset, and all that stuff. So I spent a good 5, 6 years competing, and all the time whilst working a professional job. I was a teacher during this time as well. And as we speak,
Yeah.
I've actually been teaching for 15 years now. So yeah, that's my background in a nutshell. Now I've created a business service, an online service called Peak Professionals. So, like you said in the introduction, I mostly teach professional people, but anyone really that wants to lose weight and keep it off forever. And really, that is about habit change and behavioral change, and that's really what teaching is about. It's about bringing someone's personality to life, and bringing their creating opportunities that they maybe didn't see before. So I linked together my kind of skills in teaching,
Hmm.
um, and created Peak Professionals a few years ago, and I've never looked back since.
I think that's really cool to kind of hear that you used your passion and skills from to combine that with coaching because I think that like if you have the knowledge you can coach, especially in health and fitness, but it's one thing to create like meal plans or workout plans, but it's another thing to like actually teach your client what to do or
Yeah.
like you said to have those behavioral changes. So I think it's kind of unique to know that you're both a teacher and a coach because you have that experience of actually helping people learn things. It's not just thanks for signing up, here's what you need to do, go do it. Like you
Yeah.
know how to help people actually get there as well.
Absolutely. All the information is there, and
Hmm.
it's a commodity nowadays. So, it's how do you put that together? Because I know a lot of people will feel kind of overwhelmed. They'll not know where to start in their journey. So, if you can put together some educational program, do this first, do this next, do this, but apply the knowledge, then you're going to be able to experience it for yourself. It's not just about giving meal plans out. It's about learning um, to live a healthy lifestyle. And how do you do that?
Hmm.
That comes with setting habits. So, yeah, my teaching background, forming relationships, that's something that I really value is building relationships with people. That's why I'm on this podcast with yourself, Zach, because I like forming relationships with people.
Definitely.
And when you get that connection with someone, um, that's when you can really drive change. And it has to be that kind of personal approach and the one to one. I know, obviously, in teaching, one to one teaching, you can really get a lot out of students.
Yeah.
Um, so, turning that to kind of online coaching, I knew I could help people. So, yeah, it's mostly about that behavioral habit change. But when you connect to
Hmm.
someone emotionally, because I know that all our decisions are based on emotions, really. You try and think
Yeah.
rationally a lot of the time, but most people are busy. They're probably quite tired and maybe not fueling themselves properly. But really, that's driven on part or a big part by emotion. So, and I
Yeah.
use that in my teaching daily. And I use that, a nice calm approach to my teaching, and I use that in coaching as well.
Definitely, I think that that's important. And, Alan, like you said, those connections are so important, building those connections with people, whether it's your students, whether it's your, coaching clients, or just, you and I, our connection and everything is super important. And I think that, especially when it comes to any of those, students, clients, whatever, everyone's a little different. So the way that you connect with, you know, one student might be different than the other, or the way that you coach one individual might be different than the other. And if you don't take the actually get to know that person, you won't really be able to help them as much because you don't know what specifically they need or what will work best for them.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the key word there, needs, because everyone's got needs, and some needs are different than others. So when you get to know someone, and you have that connection, you understand their needs, you can then create something that's differentiated for them. And when you have differentiated learning, that's where results skyrocket. That's if you make it bespoke for that individual, then their chances of success go way up. So you're absolutely right, and it does begin with what is someone's needs, and how can I make that differentiated for that person.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's so unique and individual to everyone. And, you kind of mentioned with your experience of competing in bodybuilding and stuff, and that's an awesome sport and an awesome, goal to have. But, the most people you talk to, they probably don't have that goal, right? Like,
Yeah,
maybe some do, but a lot might just want to kind of, like you said, maybe have a little more confidence, be able to lose a little, maybe like 5, 10 pounds. Not everyone necessarily wants to be, single digit body fat, stage ready,
yeah.
but it's all about finding what they need and then how can you provide value to them based on what their needs are?
Yeah, absolutely right. And it's a bodybuilding, it's a very niche sport.
Mhm.
And it's there's not many people that would want to, like you say, get to that level of body fat or even put in the dedication it takes to grow the muscle. So,
Right.
for the vast majority of people, it is about creating something that's sustainable for
Yeah.
their lifestyle. And any fat loss should be a byproduct of living a healthy lifestyle. So, yeah, not everyone is. When people see my picture, I suppose, online and things about, it's a bodybuilder and, got abs and stuff, I'm very careful what I post online with that type of thing now because I don't want people thinking, whilst I'm really proud of my results and everything that I achieved. It's more about the person to me, and it's more about reaching someone that can be relatable. And
Mhm.
sometimes seeing these pictures, it's unrealistic for in particular professional people, who do have maybe families, busy lives.
Yeah.
They're certainly not looking to get absolutely ripped, as we say. They're just looking
Right.
to lose the weight, keep it off, and have a fun time doing it, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. And, we've kind of talked about how everyone's different and everyone has different needs or goals or what they would want out of, you know, achieving that sustainable and, healthy lifestyle. So I know maybe you can't give too many details, but I guess just from like a very surface level, what do you think goes into having a healthy lifestyle? Because it goes way beyond just what we eat and how
Yeah,
active we are, right?
absolutely. I'm a big believer in putting meaning behind your choices, and your choices dictate your life. Every second you make a decision. So if you can make better decisions, not just for nutrition, not just for training, but in general, your life's going to be better. So, how do you make better decisions? And I believe that is the ability to change your focus and add a new meaning to whatever you're choosing to focus on, because we all get to choose what we focus on. Um, but in terms of practical things that you can do, I always tell people to start with the basics because there's so many X's and O's out there that people are thinking, oh, how much water should I drink? How much carbohydrates should I eat? Really, just
Mhm.
start with the basics in terms of, and it comes down to nutrition. Is one of the pillars of health. Nutrition and sleep are, to me, two of the fundamentals for living a healthy lifestyle. And once you start developing habits in nutrition and sleep and putting a bit of meaning behind it, um, that's where you can really start to move on to probably adding in more training or more well-being or more self-care. But it's how do you put all that together? And that, like I said previously, I think that's where a lot of people get a feeling of overwhelmed, so they just don't bother making a change. So I do believe 90% of results come from nutrition. So if you can learn to manage that through behaviors, self-awareness, understanding why am I feeling like this around certain foods, and not using restriction either, because I know a lot of people cut out the foods that they love. And to
Mhm.
me, if you told me that I wasn't allowed to eat chocolate anymore, I would end up knee deep in a bath of chocolate or something. So
Yeah.
um, including the foods that you love, or in some sort of calorie budget, I suppose, that frees your mind off emotionally around food, and you actually develop a better relationship with food. And that, in my experience of coaching people, when they apply that, they start then going more towards healthier choices naturally, and that's where people want to be. Because and
Mhm.
again, it goes back to your needs. You mentioned earlier on, when you understand what your needs and your wants are, that's a really big part of self-awareness and a big part of making decisions. What I actually need, and what is it that I actually want? And chances are, a lot of that is ruled around emotion. So, and I want chocolate, but I don't need it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I
So
agree with you completely. And it's funny because hearing you talk about what you just shared, I think about like my own personal life and journey with my health and fitness, and I think that for me, like, I have struggled with that, just lack of self-awareness when it comes to eating and, restricting and saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna eat, chocolate or anything." And then kind of like you said, like, next thing I know, I just had 20 chocolate bars in a night
Yeah,
because I haven't had a single piece of chocolate in, months. So I think it is having that awareness and really understanding the emotions behind it. And, I think we're talking about this in terms of nutrition and how this can help with your overall health. But I think just kind of like you mentioned, just having that control over your emotions and that self awareness in general is really going to help you in any aspect of your life.
absolutely. Yeah, like I say, working a professional job, people like to think that they're thinking rationally a lot of the time. But if you're realistic about that, you know, like I say, people are busy. They're probably sleep deprived, or maybe not eating enough, or certainly enough of the right types of foods or healthy foods. So that makes us more emotional, and we like to think we're thinking rationally, but really that emotion is there creeping up and ready
Mhm.
to pounce at any time. So, if you can think more rationally, then you're going to make better decisions. But it's about nurturing that emotion. Um, because I get tired. Of course I do. I get tired all the time.
Yep.
I get up at 5:30 to go to the gym before I go to work, and I go into work, but I get that release of endorphins after going to the gym. I bounce about my work to begin with, and then sometimes in the afternoon I get tired. But it's how do you manage these moments that matter, because everyone faces them, but not everyone has the kind of self-awareness to manage them effectively, so that you can be your best self and you can give more to other people. So yeah, kind of went off piece there a little bit, but I suppose it's around, goes back to the emotions and managing your
Definitely.
emotions effectively. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. And, Alan, I have to ask whether it's things that you've done or found in your personal life or just, thoughts on it. Like, do you have any advice to anyone who might be listening who does struggle with, you know, those having those rational thoughts or struggles with managing their emotions? Do you have any kind of advice or tips or things that work well for you?
Yeah, I mean, those emotions are real, so that's a positive thing. Whether they're positive or negative emotions, they're or perceived as negative emotions, anger, fear, all these are real emotions. That just means you're alive and you're able to feel. So in those moments, when you are maybe frustrated, angry, it's chances are it's a result of something not going right. Of course it is. But when you leave that too long without taking action, that's when it can lead to, other types of behaviors down mental health route, and binge eating and other disorders, I suppose. So, but in terms of managing that, um, I personally, when I get angry, I'll have a list of things that I can do. So creating a self-care list is something that I have. I'm quite intuitive when it comes to nutrition, so I'm already on top of that. So chances are the reason that I'm um, frustrated is probably not due to my nutrition. It's usually due to tiredness, or usually due to um, something behind the scenes. So I have a self care list of things that's going to take my mind away from the moment, or in order for me to be more present, or not the moment, I suppose, take me away from whatever is frustrating me. So the first thing I do is I look at the thought. I look at the thought that's passing by, because it's just a thought at the end of the day, and all thoughts create emotion. So, whatever the thought is that's going through my mind, I look at it and I think, oh yeah, that's great. That's a thought, and I just watch it go by, and then I bring myself back into the moment. And sometimes when I'm watching those thoughts, I can get consumed and go down a rabbit hole where it lasts about a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then before I know it, I'm like, well, I'm back in the moment. So watching the thoughts go by, and then coming back present, maybe with feeling through my fingers, my toes, focusing on something in the room, something that's present. That really helps me. But in terms of my self care list, I play classical guitar, so um, I have that on my list. I'll, you know, if I'm music is a great mood changer, and it's again undervalued by a lot. I think it's you can really get things that suits your mood. So I go and play my guitar. It reminds me of when I was a boy, and I play that of happier times and can play different music on there. It might
Hmm.
just be something accessible like reading a book or going for a walk or running a bath, something that's accessible because I think that's quite important. That is accessible to people because in these moments, when your mind is running away from you, if you don't have, if you've something that's, like going to the gym can be great for, you know, letting off some steam, but that could take you an hour, 2 hours maybe by the time you get to the gym. So you want something that's really accessible, that's going to enable you to manage the moment better. So if you have a list of things that you enjoy, and in those moments you think, oh, maybe I'm going to try that one, and hopefully that is more of a coping mechanism for the next time when that happens.
I just have to say, everything you just said, I absolutely love.
Yeah,
It just super great stuff there, and I think that something that I always try to do and challenge friends, family, peers, is to be present in the moment, and kind of like you're saying, the idea of a thought or like a negative thought, especially, just to kind of like almost like step out of your body and watch it go by, like you said, just like watch it go past you and then get back to the present moment. And,
yeah,
I think that it's hard, right? It's hard to be present because we live in a fast world where, life is going by quickly, whether you're in school or working or, social media, things are really quick. And we kind of with technology we have that instant gratification kind of like lifestyle now, so it's hard to be present, but I think if you
yeah.
can kind of slow down and enter that state, it changes a lot of your perspective on yourself and life, and it can really help your just like mental well-being dramatically.
Absolutely. And you mentioned about changing your state there, because when you eat, you literally change your chemistry. You're changing your state when you eat, and you can do that within a minute. So
Hmm.
sometimes it's just it takes time to practice that though. And like you're saying, just like you train your muscles in the gym, you have to train your mind as well in order to do that. And the more you do it, the more it becomes an automatic way of thinking. So eventually, you become you're not spending maybe 4 or 5 minutes within that, or maybe longer within those thoughts. Eventually, you're able to cut that time down. So it does become more of an automatic way of thinking. But where people, I suppose, not go wrong, but they're maybe not aware that that takes time to practice that and
Hmm.
to change your mental well-being, to change your mental fitness and your emotional fitness takes as much work as it does for your physical fitness. And people think, it's just going to be a quick fix, like you say, because we live in this instant gratification with social media, and people want things really fast. And
Yep.
everything that's worthwhile getting takes time to invest the time and apply the learning. Like I said before, all the information's out there for everyone to access, but unless you apply the knowledge that's out there, you don't get the benefits from it.
Exactly, yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, there's a lot of information out there, and that usually seems to be what overwhelms people the most. But I love how you compared kind of like, the mental fitness to physical fitness, because I was exactly going to say that, or I was going to say the exact same thing with that. You mentioned having that list of self-care to do. And, I think that we all understand, the way you eat impacts your health and your nutrition. And if you go to a gym or, do home workout, whatever, play sports, you're working out your physical health. You're getting stronger, bigger muscles. But we forget that, the brain needs to be worked out just like your bicep does, right?
Yeah,
So it's all about having that awareness to do it. And I think another thing that, is it can be tricky for people is, I understand if I go to the gym and I do a whole bunch of bicep curls, that should eventually, help me grow strength in my biceps. but it's kind of like, well, what can I do, or how do I actually practice and strengthen my mental state and my brain? And I think that that's something that I'm curious, like, is there anything that you have found helpful to help work that mental fitness out as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got things like yoga and things,
Hmm.
meditation, all that stuff you can use. But when you're in a gym, you can put a number on something, so then it becomes real. You can physically see tangible results. You can look in the mirror and look leaner. You can have bigger biceps. You can see your clothes getting looser on you. So all these things are physical change that you're seeing. Um,
Hmm.
but when it comes to something that's in your head or something that you're feeling, you're not actually seeing that. So putting a number on it, I found really helps. So, I'll say sometimes to my students jokingly, but I've actually got a bit of meaning behind it. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling on the awesome scale? Um, and some of them will say, well, I'm a five, Mr. Potter. And then I'll say, right, great. So how can we get you to a six? Um, they'll sometimes give me an answer, or they'll not know. Maybe it's just they just need time to wake up.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I go back to them, maybe they've done a bit of physical activity, maybe they've engaged in some sort of success. That numbers went up. So I'll go back to them and I say, "Oh, where are you at now?" So that, and when you put a number on something, I found that your emotions like that, and it goes back to the emotions again. Your emotions will appreciate the facts. When you're nurturing that emotion, you're like, no, I've actually went up to a six now. Well, how am I going to get to a seven? Um, so I suppose it is about putting a tangible result on your mental, emotional, or even social fitness.
I have never thought about that. Just like putting something tangible to, even just, how do I feel mentally today? I feel like a five. How do I get to a six? Like, I've never thought about it like that, but now I'm like, I need to start doing that, because
Yeah,
it just seems to make sense. And it's like, I don't know. I think maybe like, I'm sure most people, whether it's still currently in their life or when they're younger, played like a video game or a computer game at some point. It's like that, like leveling up, and that's kind of like can be addicting in those games. I feel like it's the same principle if you say like, I'm at a five, I want to get to a six. So like, what do I need to do to get from point A to point B?
absolutely. And that again, it comes back to that self-awareness. If you have reasons why you're probably feeling like that,
Hmm.
um, then you're more likely to be able to do something about it and get your level up. But sometimes you do just feel a bit down. You do just feel, a 0 to 5, and that's okay as well. As long as you're not there for too long, obviously. So I use affirmations a lot. I love affirmations. They don't always work, and some people think, it's just a gimmicky thing. But I do believe that the thoughts, the words that you continually say to yourself, that becomes really your way of thinking. And then, like I've said, the words that you say, your continual way of thinking becomes how you feel. So when you
Hmm.
start to change that and combine that with sleep, nutrition, an active lifestyle, and you're not missing out socially. Like I say, like relationships are key as well. Chances are, if you're feeling down, one of these is getting taxed, and you're taking maybe a bit too much from them. So, but yeah, affirmations is another one that I like to use, and it drives me to achieve goals and stuff as well. I suppose different affirmations that I use.
Yeah, I like the idea of affirmations. That's definitely something that I feel like I benefit from. And kind of related to that, I also just consider like positivity is, it's not necessarily an affirmation, but just having that positive mindset. I feel like, it's it really can change your outlook. Or like, social media is so big and everyone is pretty much on it, and I'm a big advocate for, make sure your social media is positive. You don't
Yeah,
want to be following a whole bunch of negative, companies or sources or individuals, or anything that can bring down your mood or your positivity. So I think that that can be big. And even just like, driving a car, a lot of people drive regularly. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to get stopped by that train, or I don't want to hit a red light. And it's almost like you just think about that, whereas I always say, like, just don't think about the negative, just like think about this drive's going great. I'm getting to where I need. I'm having all the green lights that I need. Just kind of changing the way that we look at things a little bit.
Absolutely. And again, I mentioned earlier on about changing your focus,
Hmm.
and having a new meaning to something. Because so many people you can't see the woods for the trees, because you're so ruled by fear a lot of the time. And driving, for some people is a really scary experience,
Hmm.
because people are maybe cutting you off on the roads and there's a bit of road rage. But to me, that says more about the person in the opposite car. For me, I try to be in control of those emotions and let that go. And I actually use the drive. I drive, 45 minutes to my work actually, and then 45
Okay.
minutes home. So that's a bit of dead time for me. So I want to use that as either a relaxing time or a time to learn. So I maybe put on a podcast, or maybe put on obviously some music, and again that changes your state and it takes your
Hmm.
focus away from something else. Obviously, I'm still focusing on the road, but
Right.
yeah, of course, I'm not taking my attention away from there. I'm still focusing on the road, but I'm kind of habit stacking, I suppose, is what I like to call that. I'm doing a bit of
Yeah.
learning because you're always learning, and then um, I'm getting I'm getting a good feeling whilst going to my work at the same time. So you mentioned about Instagram and social media, because these are highlight reels. Everyone's putting their best content up there. Of course, they are. People need to know that, but if you start following um, negative pages or negative posts,
Yep.
then that is absolutely going to impact on your state and your emotional state. So, um, this is why I'm just so big on managing emotions, because it features in every single part of your life.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about being positive and how to be positive, and I do believe a big part of that is the environment that you're in. um, you're We're all a product of our environment, so you want to be around as much positivity as possible, because in those moments where you are maybe down, or you want something to bring you up, and that can be I have this colleague at work. I'll not say his name, but if he listens to this podcast, he'll know that I'm talking about him. So this person, genuinely, when I think about his face, just his face, because he's a really really funny person, um, it brings my state up. And sometimes, I'll be at home and I'll just think about this person, and I put on, also attach a wee bit of meaning to it. We've got a song together, us. I may be going into too much detail here, but we have a friendly song together. So it's another one. I think about his face. I put his music on. I'm like, that reminds me of him. But it goes back to my point about a product of your environment. He is in my environment at work, so he's making it a more enjoyable place for me, so I can get that well-being there. And that's just one small example. Another example is, if you're going to the gym or something, there's different types of gyms that you can go to, and those gyms have got to suit your goals as well. I know,
Yeah.
when I was going back to bodybuilding days, I was going to a different gym then than I am now, because my goals are different. I wanted to be around people that were achieving more than what I was. I wanted to train with someone that was bigger, stronger, lifting more than me, because that's going to raise my game.
Hmm.
Um, and it's the same in all walks of life. Even business now, you want to be around people that are going to bring you up, and if you are ahead of people, then you're in a privileged position to be able to help them and bring them up. So it's kind of like the pay it forward situation, I suppose.
Definitely, like you said, we are 100% a product of our environment, and having that environment is so important. And I think that, like, I've heard this expression, or saying that you never want to be the smartest or like most successful person in a room. And I definitely, can see that. You want to surround yourself with people that are going to make you better. But at the same point, I think that, like you just said, if you maybe are ahead of other people that you're surrounded by, that is kind of just a privilege, and you can pay it forward and help those individuals. And I think that something that we forget at times is if we help others, like in helping others, that also helps us, right? Because sure, maybe we might be, more successful, quote unquote, or, our goals might be achieved, before someone else that we're helping, but we might also get another perspective from them, or we might learn something that we've never considered, or just it might shift our perspective a little on something. So, you can definitely benefit from any environment that you're in. You just need to make sure it's a positive one and one that you can thrive in and one that fits where you're at and what your needs are.
Absolutely. Every single person that I coach, I learn from, and this is why I can't believe that I get to do this. It's I speak to people regularly, I message people, and they teach me. Every experience they go through, they're helping me become a better teacher, a better person, a better coach. And sometimes they don't even realize that they're doing that. So um, sometimes that starts with yourself, as well. When you help yourself, you're actually able to help others more. And
Yeah,
I do believe that what one of my beliefs is it's really reward and fulfilling to help other people, so giving to other people is actually a better, it's a better way to live in your life. But how do you do that? You actually have to help yourself first so you can give more to other people.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Can't pour from an empty cup. You have to give to yourself and take care of yourself and help yourself and invest in yourself. And that's not selfish. That's just so you can give more to others. And I think that when we have that mindset of like being able to give and the abundance of giving, our lives become more fulfilling. But also, I truly believe like the more that you put out there, the more that you also receive back. So, it never hurts to give to others, whether it's, you know, maybe financially if you can, or maybe it's just your time, maybe it's advice, maybe it's, tips, whatever. Just giving what you can, I think, is super important, and you'll see great results from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose we're talking about being maybe a role model for other people, and
Yeah.
that's how people learn. That's how children learn. They learn from adults, and they learn from their environment. They learn from their parents. They learn from their teachers, and they model behavior. So you can, be the best version of yourself without sounding too cliche.
Hmm.
Then you're going to put that message across to someone else, and that's we all need strong role models in our life. So that's the meaning that I'm talking about when it comes to health, fitness, and well-being, especially for busy professional people, parents. When you look after your own well-being, your children, your family, people around you, they start picking up on your behaviors,
Hmm.
and eventually they start to change their behaviors because it's in their environment and they've got a
Yep.
strong role model there. So that's why it's so key to kind of learn these healthy behaviors, and so you can other people can intuitively pick that up from you.
Definitely. I agree with you completely there. And that's kind of a good segue, Alan. I have to ask, like, when it comes to your coaching right now, are you still like actively taking on clients to coach, or are you like booked with clients right now?
Yeah, I'm quite full with clients at the moment. I do have
Okay.
some space as well, so we're speaking just now. But yeah, I'm always looking for new clients because some people are coming to the end of their time.
Okay.
And then yeah, I'm actively looking for clients. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, to anyone that's listening to this episode right now, if, like Alan said, maybe you're a professional that is maybe the niche, if you will, that Alan works with, but it sounds like anyone could benefit from, you know, having Alan as your coach. So if anyone is interested, what would be the best way for someone to get in contact with you or to check out, what you have to offer as a coach?
Yeah, so I've got a Facebook business page, Peak Professionals, and that's PEIK. That's the values of me and my business, obviously. I forgot to mention that actually. So Peak Professionals on Facebook, and I've got that on Instagram as well. And my Instagram is AJ Potsy, which is actually private because of I'm a teacher obviously in high school, so I actually have to keep that private just now. And that's the one where you'll if you message me on either of those, then I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay, perfect. And I'll put all that information in the description of this episode. So if you're listening, if you didn't catch that, or if you just want to see it, spelled out, written out, or just a link or whatever, go to the description and you'll be able to find Alan's content that way. And yeah, if you want him for your coach, then by all means reach out to him. I think he's a great, terrific resource. But also if you just want to check out what he's doing, or just, Alan does a great job posting a lot of good content about improving our health and just everything we talked about today. Even if you maybe aren't interested in coaching right now or in general, definitely someone really good to connect with and a really positive person. And again, just putting someone good into your environment. So definitely check out Alan's content. Again, that'll be in the description of this episode. Um, but Alan, as we were wrapping things up, do you have any last thoughts, words, message, or anything that you want to give to anyone listening?
Um, Not really. I just appreciate people that do listen to these podcasts, because I've listened to so many different podcasts and I always learn something from it. So if anyone does, learn something or maybe has some sort of value taken from it, I would love to hear that, because I get a lot of fulfillment hearing other people progress. So yeah, that's what I would say to that, I suppose.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm gonna echo that and challenge to anyone listening. Let Alan know what you learned from this episode, or what has benefited you from it, or what value you got out of it. Let me know. Um, Let me know, and I will let Alan know if that's easier
Yeah,
for you.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
however this episode benefited you, if it did, and hopefully it did, let us know, because Alan gets fulfillment from it, and I do as well. So that's why this podcast exists, to help people and to spread some positivity and just showcase individuals and just their mindset and passions and everything. So please let us know. We would definitely love to hear it. And I will say to you, Alan, you have definitely helped me learn today and helped me grow. And I feel very fulfilled and inspired from our conversation. And I know a lot of the things that we talked about, I'm excited to implement in my own personal life. So I thank you very much for taking the time to talk today and for sharing everything that you have.
yeah. No problem at all, Zach. I really appreciate your time. Like I said, it's my privilege being on here, so thank you as well.
Of course. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later. You have a good day.
Cheers, Zach. Bye bye.
Bye.